All right, so welcome to the Modern Frequency interview. My name's Robert, as you know. Um, how'd you guys get together? Let's start there, because I know you guys are obviously from Pennsylvania, Reading, Pennsylvania. So
Yeah, yeah. Um, so Jim and I have known each other for years. We've been playing music together, I think going on 8 or 9 years. We had been in some projects before Die Tired. Um, and that project kind of dissolved, but him and I kept jamming together, and him and I had met through a mutual friend.
mhm.
Uh, so then we just kind of kept jamming together. Then through the pandemic, we really started forming Die Tired, and we didn't have a drummer at the time. And Brandon was actually putting up these drum cover videos of him playing the drums on Facebook and like social media. I didn't know him, but one day it kind of came through the feed in this local musicians group that was like, "Hey, I play rock and pop rock covers. Here's one of me playing the used. Let me know if you'd be interested in jamming." And
Yeah.
I sent it to Jim and stuff like that. I was like, and another guy, our other friend Sean, who was playing with us at the time too, was like, "Hey guys, like this dude looks like he could fit. Maybe we should reach out to him." And would you believe it or not, when we reached out to him, not only do we know everybody, to the same people, but he lives 10 minutes away from my house. Never
Oh,
knew him, never met the guy at all. Reached
that's
out on Facebook.
incredible.
We started talking, and it's just been ever since that meeting came over the first time we jammed. It was magic, and that's all she wrote. So yeah, really a Facebook post of him playing a drum cover.
Very
Because now we met Brandon, and
cool.
then Jim and I have just been friends, for a long time now.
All right. What keeps the bond going? What keeps this group together? What keeps Die Tired together?
Beer.
What was
Was
it?
that just
No, I said what keeps the bond of you guys going together?
Oh, sorry. I thought Jim, were you saying something?
No, my headphones were acting funny. I said beer is what keeps us going together.
Oh,
I don't know. I think one of the big things is that we're all like at the same stage in life. We've all got wives and kids, careers. And the band is like I tell people it's a hobby that we take very seriously. Because it hasn't gotten us to a point that we're paying bills and we're quitting our day jobs with it. But we all have an understanding that it is something that is a commitment, a very serious commitment, and an obligation to each other, and a loyalty there that we all sort of seem to understand and bond over that. We certainly bond over bands and going out together to play shows together, and long road trips in the truck and that kind of thing. And just generally speaking, since we're all kind of like-minded and similar lifestyles, it certainly helps us just kind of make it work.
Cool.
yeah, and I mean I would add to that too. There's a nice kind of a lot of similarities and overlapping kind of characteristics in our personalities and also our musical interests. We kind of, as far as our musical interests go, I mean, we kind of cover the whole scope. And we each individually have our own kind of musical training and history of musical development at our craft and our instruments, and it just all blends together really nicely in what we can compose together. And I think we end up producing some pretty unique kind of creative sounds and rhythms and lyrics when you put it all together. So I mean it's just a great puzzle. All the pieces just fit very complementary.
For sure, for sure. Um, you guys are signed to hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, Soday Records.
Yep.
Is that right?
yes.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. What's the feeling like when you got signed? How do you like the record label so far?
Yeah, I mean the feeling is awesome. It's something when you put a lot of energy and effort and commitment into your craft and your heart and soul, and to have someone believe in you and say, "Hey, I want to work with you, and I'm going to sign you and try to help you, get further and get your sound out to even more people." I mean, that's incredibly humbling and also validating. Like, man, that's awesome. Like, I don't know. Well, it kind of piggybacks on for me, my answer to that piggybacks a little bit off that last question. What keeps you going? It's just like, I've just always felt the need to write music. I played music since I was a kid. When I first picked up, the guitar, I always loved writing my own songs. That's just something like inside me that always needs to come out. That creative outlet, way of expressing myself and my ideas and emotions. So like, to have that be realized that someone else heard that, and what Jim, Brandon, and Die Tired are able to do, say like, I hear something in that, I respect that, I hear it, I think that has potential, was really exciting for us. And it's been great. We're very thankful for that opportunity that Sam and his team have given us over there. It's got us a lot of opportunities, a lot of radio play, a lot of bigger shows that we would have had before. And little by little, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and we're just kind of just riding that momentum and seeing what takes us next, where it takes us next.
The label is located in Pennsylvania.
It's a
Canada.
Canadian label.
Oh,
Actually,
I didn't know. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
he's up in Canada. Yeah,
All right, cool. So maybe you'll get some Canadian exposure too. Who knows?
yeah, yeah. We're working on getting up there.
That's
That'd be a
cool.
cool opportunity as well. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I want to touch about the lyrics real quick in the band. Who writes most of the lyrics in the band? Is it a collective effort or?
I usually do. We'll at least start them or get them out there, and I try to not just be like total like control over it. Send it to the guys, but usually they're all very supportive of the ideas of that and like what we're putting out. Or for example, the song "Better Off Alive." A lot of times when I'm writing the lyrics, I'm just mumbling some things or just kind of ad-libbing as it goes. And I remember when the first time we played it, Jim was like, "That's got to be the name of the song, Better Off Alive." So like they will help and reinforce things. Say that line's cool, or go with that, or maybe that should be the name of a theme. And then I just kind of take it and run with it.
Cool. I want to touch about the band's sound and style a bit. It sounds like 90s alternative, which is not a bad thing. I loved I loved the 90s alternative rock scene. Were there favorites from you guys growing up listening to any of that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim, why don't you start?
Yeah, sure. It's funny, Brandon mentioned that we all kind of like overlap each other with musical tastes, and my tastes have changed a lot over the last probably decade. Because there was a point in high school when all I listened to was either Pink Floyd or Dave Matthews Band, and that was it. Those are like the two bands I listened to. I'm actually going to go see Dave on Saturday in Camden. Really stoked about that. Still a fan, but grown a lot into, Jimmy Eat World is a band that I bring up a lot that I think we kind of emulate them a little bit. And Matt and I saw them together a little while ago. It was a great show. Alice in Chains is another inspiration for us. And Matt got me into a lot of metal songs. Some of my buddies that I knew in the past got me into some metal stuff too. So it's weird because we'll kind of have these pop rock songs, and then if you listen to Slow Down, we get kind of like on the brink of a metal song. And then Brandon is like real into pop punk, like Green Day stuff and Pierce the Veil, which is also really good stuff too. And it all just kind of blends together to make.
Cool. Anybody else?
Yeah, I grew up, all through my childhood. It was my CD players always consistently were spinning like Silverchair, Smashing Pumpkins, you know what I mean? The early Green Day albums. They were constantly spinning in my CD player, and that's kind of what I learned the drum kit on is kind of listening and emulating those drummers and those bands. So, and then you have I was kind of my music scene was the Warped Tour kind of crowd. So, I spent my summers, down in Camden, 100-degree summer days, you know what I mean? Exhausted and dehydrated, just going from stage to stage, seeing, like the Ataris and Blink and all them guys. So I mean, that's kind of like where my influences and my style is kind of sourced out of. So, and still I listen to all that stuff today, and it's a great era of music. 90s, early 2000s, alternative rock, pop punk. It's great
Right.
stuff.
Right. For sure, for sure.
Yeah, I'll throw in a couple. I know Jim mentioned Alice in Chains. I mean, Jerry Cantrell is a huge guitar hero of mine. Just love his style, and his riffs and solo, and then him and Lane with their singing, the melodic components they put to that, and kind of some of the lyric content too, where it's like moody and kind of abstract. Um, it seems like it's literal, but could also have some other meanings. I like that kind of the grunge music and some alternative stuff. Deftones was a big. I mean, Adrenaline came out. I absolutely love that, and just trying to emulate some of those riffs and play that style. That was an awesome. And then into Around the Fur, just dynamite. You know what I mean? That stuff's just classic. And then Jim mentioned too. I actually, when I was first learning guitar, I really do like metal music. I still do. I like a lot of heavy stuff. Pantera, Metallica, Megadeth. I mean, Rust in Peace. The guitar playing on Rust in Peace, I still is, to me, one of the best guitar albums. I mean, that thrash metal, and Marty Freeman and Dave, like, it's just Dave Menz on the drums. That stuff's still this day. I listen to it, like, that album is awesome.
You guys remind me of A Day to Remember a little bit, but not as heavy as they are.
Right.
I don't know if you're fans of them or not, but
Yeah, I've heard a little bit of that, and I do see we kind of start to get, like Jim was mentioned, we do get heavy at some point, then and then it kind of comes back a little bit. There are songs that aren't released and songs that we jam down here that one day may see the light of the day, that are heavier. Not really screaming or anything like that. Although I'm not opposed to the heavy vocals. I mean, I love that stuff. Uh, still trying to feel and practice that technique that I could, scream the way I'd want it to sound like, and fit our style of music. But we can get into that heavy stuff a little bit, but that's the best thing about music. I mean, it's not just one emotion, not just one style.
right.
And you can play something quiet on the acoustic and it convey one message. You can get heavy and convey another message. And we try to, in our live shows, pick and choose a lot of different things, so it's not just one note, and you kind of get this evolving dynamic experience of highs and lows and everything in between.
Play, your single Play, I believe.
Yeah.
The acoustic version is really, really, really good. I like
Oh,
it.
thank you.
I'm digging
Yeah.
it. I've been listening to it nonstop. So that's a good example I think you could put to use after what you just said.
Yeah, that's kind of like the ode to like the unplugged style, to show like, hey, you could play. We were speaking about that 90s era. Those bands could play heavy and grungy and loud, and then you can go in and you can showcase your skills acoustic too, and showcase the music in another way. And that was something I love. I still love those albums to this day. I think that was
Oh
a
yeah, they're fantastic.
seminal moment for Empty. One of the best things they've done.
Right. And you guys write and play from a place of angst. Would you agree with that? I mean, I don't know if you would agree with like a angry place, an angst place.
I could see that.
Depend on the song, yeah. And just I feel compelled to say, since you love Play acoustic so much, all the credit goes to Matt. He did that entirely himself. Cool. There's a bass on there that was low keyboards that he did and mixed it in. It was guitar and him and his computer in his basement, and that's it. And he just, Matt's the talent. Brandon and I are just there supporting him.
That's not true, man. But thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you did a great job on that song. It's great. As far as angst goes, maybe I think if anything, it's more of like we just want to like look and feel and be professional, and part of that is just like really going after it. I see a lot of bands that sound great on stage, but they're boring to watch. And I never want to be one of those bands. I want people to be like, those guys are playing their hearts out up there. There could be 6 people or there could be 600 people, and we're going to be flying around the stage, and we're going to be playing our hearts out, and that's just, and that kind of ties into like what our motivation as a band is, and like the things that we see as like in everyday life, just like, you know, don't half-ass it. Just give it everything you got, no matter what, at all times. And maybe it looks angsty, and maybe it is because we got a chip on our shoulder and we think we should be touring the world. But yeah, I like that. We could go some angst. I'm into it.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think so. And I think one thing for me, like, I getting some of that emotion out, balances me. I mean, I don't like to speak for the other guys, but if I get a little bit of that angst and frustration about whatever it is going on in my life, or just frustrations with the world in general sometimes, and some of the complications we all deal with, music's my place to get that out in a health, and what I consider, you know, somewhat of a healthy way, and it balances me out, and I'm not harboring anything inside. And that's one thing that also I think goes back to your first question, that keeps the band together. Like, this is our place to just kind of what Jim was saying, let it all out, get it out there. It's the best therapy in the world. You know what I mean? Just being with your friend, and it's a way of communicating that's unlike anything else too. When you're playing music together and all on the same page and releasing the same feeling. And so, yeah, I can see how angst does come across that way, because sometimes I'm just trying to get that emotion out, as a cathartic experience, selfishly for myself. You know,
It's
to release it.
therapeutic. It's therapeutic, and it's an outlet for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, cool. Speaking, you mentioned touring. You played with Lucas Graham, Philip Phillips, Ryan Cabrera. What were those experiences like, and what can we expect from a tour from you guys in the future?
Go ahead, Brandon. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that, you know, I personally, and I, you know, guarantee the other guys do feel very kind of proud and accomplished about. We've played, shared, you know, the festival stage with some pretty, you know, popular artists. You know, Lucas, being able to meet those artists, talk to them, shake their hands, be able to associate our live performance with their success, you know what I mean, and their show. I mean, it's just great. I mean, we got to spend some time with Lucas Graham backstage, and I mean, he took the time. Great guy, shout out to him. He took the time to talk to us about music, family, touring, some of the ins and outs of what his travel is like. We got to meet some of the reps on his team. And anytime you get to pick the brain of somebody that has had success like that in the industry, I mean, we want to be a sponge and absorb all of that. So, I mean, that's and the other guys, you guys can jump in and add too, but I mean, that's just been a heck of an experience, you know, like that I'm just thrilled to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, just to jump on that too, and even just as upping your stage game, getting the chance to play on those bigger stages, the bigger PA systems, the professional sound teams. Honestly, now just want it all the time. It's addicting. You know what I mean? It's like, how can we seek those places out and have the opportunity to showcase our music at a level like that? It was really something I'm very thankful for. We got the opportunity to do that, and we were selected to open up for them. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, we learned a lot just about what it takes to play on a stage like that, what it takes to be professional and play on a festival and a big show like that, the ins and outs of, you know, the backstage, the logistics. So we're very thankful for that. You know, I feel like we learned a lot. So when the time does come for us to kind of do that more often, we are prepared, and we'll kind of know hopefully what to expect, and we'll be ready to shred. For the tour, yeah, we're ready to go. I mean, we have a lot of opportunities out there right now. We'd love to get out there as much as possible and see what we have going on. We're currently kind of booking into the fall right now and looking into winter and post that. Travel wise, or our next big thing. We have we have a local festival here in Reading, which is our hometown, which we're really looking forward to. It's a real big event, a music festival on the Schuylkill River called Riverfest. And then in September, we'll be flying to Nebraska, Ashland, Nebraska, to play a Hero Stock Festival. So that's kind of a taste of where we're starting to get out is kind of popping out to these festivals or maybe playing these other tours, other kind of shows like that in the future. And we're really excited for what comes next.
What is the live experience like?
Go ahead,
Uh,
Jim.
You know, as Matt was answering that question, it occurred to me that I think our angst probably comes from our competitiveness, because we're talking about meeting Phil Phillips and Lucas Graham, and really both exceptionally nice guys, but backstage we're like, we really pride ourselves in making it hard for the next band to perform, and by that I mean we are just gonna ideally win the crowd over and make them be like, wow, what a show. So for us, the live thing is just like we all feed off of it. It's like I said, 600, it doesn't matter. We just get like so into it, and it's like I personally like go into a different world where I'm just like all of a sudden something else, like I'm a different person. Something comes over me where I'm just like ready to slay it on stage, and we really pride ourselves in having this really up and down show where we'll have like a 6 or 7 minute like instrumental jam, and then we'll come out and play a really heavy rock song, and maybe a cover or two that people like, and just to kind of keep the crowd engaged depending on the show. And there's something about that backstage, like minutes before when it's time to go, that is just like, we all just kind of have this moment, a little fist bump, little hug, and then it's just, we turn into that, whatever version of that we are on stage, we all just kind of melt into it. And then it just happens, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, just big riffs, big drums, improvisation. One thing that I think is really cool, if people don't see us live, that you might not have expect is a lot of improv on the songs. We might take a bridge, Slow Down is a song that you could hear. That's a single we released, but we may ride that song for like 10, 12 minutes. Guitar solos, bass solos, drum breakdowns, and just depending on the crowd's reaction and the type of stage. Like those festival stages are great for something like that, because it kind of gets the crowd going, gives them something different, gives them something to kind of sink into and jam along with, and then we pop back out and may just hit them with Play, which is like a 3-minute, 20-second in and out type anthemic song. So yeah, we really try to be dynamic, engaging. We like to have fun, throw beach balls out there, get bubble machines, get the crowd engaged, have them sing along.
A little crowd surfing.
Yeah, throw drumsticks out, whatever it is. We've done all kinds of different things. Throwing merch out, fun stuff like that. So hopefully it's also like a good back and forth with the audience too. We're not just up there with their heads down looking at our shoes,
Right.
And there's time and place for that. Don't get me wrong, if that's the style that people do, but like, we also want to be able to out there and get people going and let them know we're here.
Sure. You mentioned Slow Down. I saw the video for that. It's really, really, really cool.
Oh, nice.
How did you make the video? What I mean, what graphic platform did you?
Yeah, that was through a platform called Kyber. It's an AI software.
I was about to say that.
So what we did was all of the video was filmed on Brandon's phone.
Oh my
So
God.
we took different video on Brandon's phone, like kind of using like a static holder, we've got a bunch of different shots, and then we threw these kind of like 15 to 20-second clips into the platform, and we used what's called like the video transformation. So it'll take your video and what's in there and transform it. And we gave it some prompts of what we wanted it to look like a template. You notice there's like a lot of waves and things like that. We had like waves crashing in the background and the colors that we wanted it to do. And we just rendered a bunch of different short video clips, and then Brandon did the editing on that and lined it all up with the song. So props to him that he did the in-house video editing for us.
Yeah,
Very
I did. And I don't have any video training. I was just kind of like the, trial and error, throwing things together. And I am really exceptional at lining up audio from doing my drum covers. So that piece of it I had nailed down. But as far as like the scenes and stuff, I was learning on the fly. So I'm thrilled to hear, the way that it came out.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some really cool stuff in there that ended up coming out. I mean, as we all see, it's starting to take over anymore. Like it's really powerful tools.
yeah,
And that it's gonna only keep getting better and better and better. It's you can do some really cool stuff with it. And it took some trial and error. And say, hey, if we did that again, I'm sure we could even refine that approach if we tried that again,
Mhm.
But we were happy with it. And that kind of plays into our mindset too, a little do it yourself.
Sure.
We record in-house here. I have a little studio here that we use. Then if we send some tracks out to be mixed and mastered and stuff like that, but all the recording typically is done right here. Video stuff we do, we have on any of our own photos and stuff like that. So our website, we try to do everything as much as we can. So it kind of keeps it authentic to who we are and kind of like the brand we're trying to put out and
Right, right.
the message we're trying to send out, and kind of keep it like a nice little package in there. And it seems to be working out for us.
Yeah, you don't see videos like that anymore, really. I mean, they're very basic nowadays. I at least
Yeah.
um one last question. You worked with Glenn Robinson, producer of Glenn Robinson. What was that experience like?
The best.
Yeah.
He's,
Awesome.
who else
He's a
did he
man.
work with?
He's
Oh,
worked with Dave Grohl, Keith Richards, U2. I think he was actually hired to remaster the Rattle and I might be mistaken, but I think it was the Rattle and Hum album. It was a
Mhm.
live U2 album that he remastered it. Jason
Voivod was the band.
Jason Newsted's band, yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of heavy hitters, a lot of really good bands. And Glenn is the type of guy that, like, I'm sure you can all can relate to this, is that when you meet somebody that you within seconds that they just know what they're talking about and they're not a phony and they're like legit. That's how I felt with Glenn and feel with Glenn. He's just really straightforward. He's really professional. The whole process with him was very smooth and easy. And we recorded all our stuff in Matt's studio, in his basement studio, and then sent it all off to him. And within like a couple of hours, he had just about the perfect finished product on it. He is just really he's good. He's good.
yeah.
He's really smart. He's really quick. Nice guy. Had a lot of fun with him, and fully anticipate more releases coming out with him.
Yeah, one thing I'll add to that too, that I really enjoyed in the process was early on there was a lot of pre-production before the song was recorded, which I appreciated, which we hadn't really done before. We've done a little bit of that with our label, and they've been helpful with that to kind of get us started. But one thing I was also very appreciative of the labels. They're kind of like, hey, you guys are writing the songs, that's your stuff. Like you're the band, go do your thing. And we'll support you. We'll do the mixes. We'll help. We'll bring it up. And they've done a great job with, Slow Down and Better Off Alive. Those tracks are killer too. But one thing working with Glenn that was different, we really engaged with him more and said, hey, here we started off. Here's a bunch of songs. Then we kind of whittled through. Here are the best 3 out of those songs. And then out of those 3, it's like, all right, we're going to pick this song. And then out of that song, we went back and forth on things like structure. What do we need to do on the bridge? Is it hitting hard enough? Where's the chorus at? Really started to dissect it and kind of think a little bit, differently and a little bit more of an analytic approach to what we want the song to sound like and how we want it to be delivered. So I really like that piece of it too, that kind of front end work. And that was just kind of like acoustic or a room mic of us playing the song, like nothing fancy. Just sending some tracks back and forth over email and then doing this dialogue, either like a video call or he'd send some notes in an email and then we'd go work with it and sculpt the song a little bit more. And we're really, really proud and excited about it. So that song is going to be called Open Hearts Club that we did with him. It's going to come out August 23rd.
Nice.
So that's set for release. It's all ready to go. It's sent over to the label. They're doing their thing for the pre-release. So we're really, really excited for people to hear it and just kind of to see how everybody responds.
So you guys didn't work with him in studio? It was all done via email or?
It was a combination of video chat. It's kind of like basically what we're doing right now. Except we just be talking about writing the song and our approach to mixing it and our approach to recording it. Like I said, we have access to a studio here in Reading. We recorded all the basic tracks to it, bounced down all the stems, sent them over to him in a big file. Then he took it into his large big scale studio, mixed it, mastered it, added some things, put some bells and whistles on it, sent it back, maybe asked for some extra stuff, and that's how we ended up doing it. Yeah, which has become a little bit more commonplace with how the advancement of technology has been going. And
Yeah.
fortunately, I had some pretty extensive experience in the studio. I did that back for a while. I had some training in it, so I was able to kind of feel comfortable saying like, "Hey, I can get you some pretty solid. I can get you the colors, the basic palette. I get you the tools, what you need, or I should say, I get you the ingredients. I can send you the ingredients, and then you can go ahead and cook the dish, if you will, and finish it off."
Yeah.
And that's kind of a good analogy to kind of how we took it that way. But we were kicking it around. We wouldn't mind going to a killer studio in New York one day or up in Canada with them and spending some time. That's Play and New Condition and some other songs that are on Spotify were done live in a studio. Not everything we do is this way, but with Glenn, this was the approach that we wanted to try.
Yeah, especially after COVID, I think everything went on Zoom, where the technology kind of had to.
Yeah, and it kind of took over, and you found a way to kind of to do it. You could send large files over the internet now. You could put things in a Google Drive. You can put things in a WeTransfer.
Right.
And there's ways to send large amounts of information quickly, and the different systems can communicate with each other, and it ended up working well. It's nice because we can spend our time down here, and if we need extra time, we're not necessarily also on like a paid studio time, if you will. It's like, oh man, we got to get this done. We got only X amount of hours left in the studio.
Right.
Here, we're on our own time. You can kind of focus. You feel comfortable. Your settings. We can take our time and work through it and get the takes just the way we like it, and then send it over. So
Cool.
we're really happy with it. Pleased with the way it came out. I think people, we think people are really gonna like it. Kind of see what happens next.
What is next for you guys? Is it just a tour, or are you gonna put out more new music, or is it an album? Can we expect an album from you guys, a full length?
Yeah, man, that's a dream. We have the material for it. One thing, I think that keeps the band going, and one thing that I love jamming with Jim and Brandon is we're never short on material. Hopefully, it stays that way. We do have plenty of stuff written. We have some things recorded yet that just haven't been finished. Right now, the kind of the approach we have been taking though, is kind of this single cycle of every couple months, just drop every 3 months or so. So, we're putting our next one out August 23rd. 3 months from there, there's going to be another one. Kind of is the way. So I'm seeing and learning is kind of popular in the industry right now, to keep content going, to keep it going, and not to drop 10 songs and have 8 of them kind of just sit on the shelf and no one really stream them, and they only stream the single you promote type thing.
Right.
But my dream is to put a badass 12 track album out, and that's what I consume. That's what I like, and I could see that in the future happening. When, I'm not exactly sure, but I don't know what the other guys think about that concept of album versus single.
Absolutely. We will go up to New York and be in Glenn Robinson's studio and we'll record a full length album.
Yeah.
No, but singles is the way to go because everyone's attention spans are getting very shorter now. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I'm sure the four of us here still, click an album and listen to it start to finish. I know I do. I'm sure everybody else in this conversation does. But there's definitely a generation of people that have, like, they might only like one song from a band and it's in a playlist. It'll be their like summer vibe playlist or whatever, and we actually land on a lot of those, and it'll be funny because we'll find one song will be trending like crazy because it got dropped on a bunch of similar playlists. And it's not that some people come and listen to us and listen to, our Just Die Tired, but a lot of times it's a song that lands on like, Play would land on like a summer upbeat vibe playlist or whatever.
Right.
And then it gets played over and over again on this playlist. And that's kind of how people consume music. I don't know if it's everybody. It's certainly not. I mean, even I do it, not as much as I do when I just go listen to a band or listen to an album, but I do the playlist thing, and that's certainly become really common, and we wouldn't want to miss the opportunity on that kind of thing. I certainly love the idea of dropping a full-length album. I think the theory right now is that once we have, 8, 9, 10 songs that are at the audio quality that we want them to be, that then they would all culminate as an album on your streaming services.
Sure.
Instead of being like different singles, it would all just become an album. But certainly would love to spend the time, write and record over the course of a year or so and put 1 or 2 singles out and then put a full one out. But that's not on the immediate horizon. But someday, yeah. I don't see why not.
Yeah,
Well-
we kind of got the train going, the engine going of the single cycle release, and then shows to promote that single for a while, and
Right.
which is kind of this cyclical nature tends to keep kind of giving back to us and working out. And every single, you kind of get more attention, then you get more listeners, you get bigger shows, and then you put another single out, and you just keep slowly moving up, and you're building your portfolio, and then maybe you get to the point where you have enough, and they say, hey, now your base is ready to put this larger body of work out. You have everybody's going to dive right in, or maybe you put it out on a vinyl and you have enough they're all going to buy it. You know what I mean? Or there's different ways you could approach that. I feel we're getting close. I feel like we're getting close to something like that. Maybe it's even like a single, like a 3-song at one time, or an EP. Not maybe right away and drop into the whole album, but I feel like we're a band that definitely wants to do that and could do that. And that'd be a really cool experience if we ever got the chance to kind of just dig in over the course of a long period of time and write what we think would be our full body of work.
Sure. Well, I do hope to see you guys in New York City sometime soon. If not,
Absolutely.
I will come to visit you guys.
Okay. That'd be great.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. And let me just stop the recording for a minute.